Fairfax County, what the hell are you doing putting these people in the office? The people of Fairfax County should be ashamed of themselves for putting these horrible people into office. What happened today on live TV and in front of Congress was unreal. Woke prosecutor Steve Descano from Fairfax County was on the hot seat for allowing violent, illegal aliens to walk free and kill Virginians. And he melted down in real time when asked to explain his twisted priorities. In today's video, we're going to break down what happened when illegal alien-loving law enforcement officials, aka Democrats, had to defend their actions, the gaslighting by Democrat members of Congress, and the shocking moment Steve Descano said the quiet part out loud about Virginia voters. It was brutal. You will see what I mean. Hey, if you're new here, welcome. I am Terry. I'm a fed-up Gen Xer and a ticked-off Virginian who's come out from behind the scenes in conservative media and grabbed this microphone right here so that you and I can talk about what's really going on. Welcome to Smart Girl Politics. Now, there were some serious fireworks today up on Capitol Hill, and this is Thursday, May 14th, as the House Judiciary Subcommittee on Immigration, I have a few notes so I get it right because this was good stuff. The Subcommittee on Immigration, Integrity, Security, and Enforcement held a hearing on the sanctuary city policies of Fairfax County. For those of you who may be outside of Virginia, it is an uber liberal suburb. It's in Virginia, Northern Virginia, suburb of Washington, D.C. And the two main witnesses were Steve Descano, the George Soros-backed Commonwealth's attorney of Fairfax County, and Stacy Kincaid, and she is the sheriff of Fairfax County. So as you can see, this was the page there off of the House Judiciary Committee, the subcommittee's page. It was called Fairfax County, Virginia, the Dangerous Consequences of Sanctuary Policies. And these were the witnesses that we saw today. Steve Descano, I guess he's honorable. And Stacy Kincaid, I guess she's honorable. And Cheryl Minter, who is the mother of Stephanie Minter. And we'll get into that a little bit more. Jason Miyares, our wonderful and unfortunately former Attorney General here in Virginia. Sean Kennedy, he runs something called Virginians for Safe Communities. They are an essential resource. Professor Jane Stover, that's what I heard from her today. And this guy, David Beer, he's like 25 years old, and he's a libertarian for illegal immigration. Anyway, so that's just to give you an idea of what we were looking at. The hearing, as I said, was called Fairfax County, Virginia, the Dangerous Consequences of Sanctuary Policies, which reflects the prosecutorial style and, dare I say, priorities of Steve Descano, which seem to favor illegal aliens as opposed to actual citizens, meaning he has been known to let illegal aliens, especially the violent ones, off really lightly, whereas he might go a little harder on an actual American citizen. So that's great. That's what's happening in Fairfax County. And there's been deadly consequences to these priorities of him. And that brings us to one of the witnesses, Cheryl Minter, who is present to tell the story of her daughter, Stephanie Minter, a 41-year-old mom from Fredericksburg who was murdered back in February. She was waiting in a bus shelter. It was a rainy night. I remember this. It was raining and she was in a bus shelter waiting to catch a bus in the Hybla Valley area of Fairfax County. And she was accosted by a man. And he stabbed her in the throat, and she subsequently died from her injuries. And we came to find out that this man is an illegal alien from Sierra Leone, not only a repeat violent offender with more than 30 arrests on his record, but he also is somebody that Steve Descano repeatedly, time and again, declined to prosecute. Therefore, he was out on the streets and free to murder Stephanie Minter. Now, if you think that Steve Descano was feeling bad about what's happened to Stephanie Minter and poor Cheryl Minter, who is devastated by the loss of her daughter, let's watch him and Stacy Kincaid as they enter the hearing room today. Here, I'm going to bump it up. Let's start over. Here they are. There's Stacy. She's the sheriff. Here comes Steve. And Cheryl is sitting here talking to Jason Miyares. He doesn't greet her. Doesn't greet Cheryl Minter at all. So, yeah. That is Steve Descano for you. The hearing went just about as you would think it would. Republicans wanted to know why things are going disastrously wrong in Fairfax County, and Democrats wanted to blame Donald Trump. It's what they do, right? And of course, ICE as well. This was the most frustrating thing. They have the most vile of Democrats who are on this subcommittee, so we had to listen to them. Democrat Rep. Pramila Jayapal, she's of California, she used her opening remarks to go on an anti-ICE screed, which is not what this was about. This was not a hearing about ICE. This was a hearing about Fairfax County. Yes, a small part of it is that they don't cooperate with ICE, but that's not really what this is about. This is about the priorities of Steve Descano and, to some extent, Stacey Kincaid to not keep dangerous illegals off the street. That's what this is about, but that's not what the Democrats. They were deflecting all over the place. Jamie Raskin, he used his time offering what I would call crocodile tears and hollow condolences for Cheryl Minter. She was very gracious. She was a very gracious woman, saying she wasn't there to make it political, but she knows what happened. She knows what happened to her daughter, and she knows why it happened. So what Jamie Raskin said was hollow, and the fact you can just kind of see the image of Steve Descano walking right past Cheryl Minter to his seat, and you're hearing Jamie Raskin, "Oh, we Democrats are so sorry for your loss. We can't say how sorry." Save it. Save your breath there, pal. An early indication that Descano was flummoxed at being called to account for his prosecutorial or lack thereof history was his reaction to the opening statement of his fellow witness, Jason Miyares. Miyares was whoever did the seating plan did a great job. They put Miyares right next to Steve Descano, and Miyares took the Fairfax County prosecutor to task for unequally applying the law to illegals as opposed to actual citizens, which caused Descano to break into theatrical head shaking. There were sighs and dramatic facial expressions. Let's take a look. Here's Jason.
A single phone call from Fairfax to ICE.
Keep your eye over here on Mr. Descano.
In November 2024, a woman was raped on a hiking trail in Herndon, Virginia, just days after her attacker was released from jail following a felony assault charge reduction.
He's
made
very
without
fidgety.
Ever consulting the police. The ICE detainer was ignored. She became
sit
the next
still.
victim. A 4-year-old girl was nearly abducted in the middle of the night by an illegal alien who broke into her bedroom. Charges were reduced progressively over 18 months down to a misdemeanor, then dropped entirely. In July 2024, 2 illegal aliens stabbed a man to death at a park in Oakton. ICE had lodged multiple detainers on one of the suspects that Fairfax County had refused to honor. He was released back into the community. Then he killed. In the last several weeks, girls as young as 13 were groped repeatedly in the hallways of a Fairfax County high school by an illegal alien enrolled as a student at age 19. ICE asked that he be held. Fairfax refused. Same county, same prosecutor, same policy, over and over again. Members, this is not incompetence. This is not coincidence. This is policy.
Yeah, there we go.
Commonwealth's Attorney Descano publishes it on his own website. His office's formal written policy states that prosecutors shall, whenever possible, make charging and plea decisions that, quote, limit or avoid immigration consequences. That's not prosecutorial discretion.
You get the idea. And we will get on to the point that Miyares was making there in just a moment. Now, Sheriff Stacey Kincaid, she seemed angry. I'm not even going to play any of hers because she really kind of was irrelevant. But she was very angry from the get-go about having to be there and answering any questions. And she was more than happy to let Descano take most of the heat. And there was plenty of heat for him. The chairman of the committee, Tom McClintock, he is a Republican from California, had some pretty hard questions for Descano about the case of an illegal who attempted to kidnap a 4-year-old girl with not great intentions for that young girl. Luckily, that kidnapping was stopped by her mother. Here we go. The LELDF, the Law Enforcement Legal Defense Fund, they put on Twitter, damning question from McClintock about Descano dropping charges against an illegal immigrant who tried to bleep a 4-year-old girl. McClintock says, I understand he was later taken into custody by ICE and deported. I'm just curious, did you notify ICE of that release? Descano says, we did not call ICE, and he is on record as not cooperating with ICE. McClintock says, the 4-year-old's mother had to call to get him out of your community. McClintock goes on, Mr. Miares, we keep hearing from Sheriff Kincaid, among others, that they'd be happy to respond to a federal judicial warrant to honor a detainer request. Well, is a federal judicial warrant possible to obtain in a state crime? Miares says no, it's not, and they know this. McClintock, and if deportation is a civil matter, how does one get a federal judicial warrant? Miares, you can't. Again, they know this. McClintock says, they're basically lying to the public. They're counting on the public, not understanding that what they're asking for is legally impossible. Miares, it is legally impossible. Yes, Mr. Chair. What they're talking about there is something that Abigail Spanberger has instituted, in which she is saying that in order for a locality like Fairfax County to cooperate with ICE, they have to get a judicial warrant for it, a legal ruling, a federal one, which doesn't exist in a state case. So they're trying to hamstring every way they can. And so thank you, Abigail Spanberger, for making our communities super dangerous. One particular point the GOP drilled home was Descano's self-described, and this is what Miares was referring to, his self-described prosecutorial style, which lived on his campaign website for 6 years, but mysteriously went down the memory hole. You know how that happens? Once Congress started taking a hard look at him earlier this year, local ABC reporter Nick Minogue, my favorite, happened to have a screenshot of the disappearing text. Let's take a look at what Nick had. This right here, this is what was up on Steve Descano's campaign website. This is what he campaigned on. He was elected in 2019 and has been reelected to this slot on this promise. If two people commit the same crime, but only one's punishment includes deportation, that's a perversion of justice and not a reflection of the values of Fairfax County. Now, he might be right that that's not the values of today's Fairfax County, but that's the values of America. And what he's saying there, and this literally existed on his website until about March, this past March, was that he was going to treat differently. If there was a deportation as part of the punishment plan, he was not going to cooperate, and he was going to give that person an easy sentence. And boy, did that lead to an extremely fiery exchange between Descano and GOP House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan of Ohio, a Republican, who wanted to know why Descano deleted that part of his website. It was there, and then it wasn't. Descano bumbled his way through a non-answer, eventually saying only someone who's obtuse would think he meant what he wrote on the site, which reportedly led to audible gasps from his own supporters. All right, we got to see it. We're going to play the whole thing. Let me...
That it's shameful.
Okay, here we go.
That's why I asked the morale question in light of your statement just a few months ago, where you said it's shameful that the guy beside you is not prosecuting people.
I did.
You said that?
I did.
Okay, good. Mr. Descano, why'd you change your website?
So first of all, let me address what you had said.
No. You answered the questions we asked. You answered the questions we asked. I asked a simple question. Why did you change your website last month?
Well, sir, your statements about don't want to prosecute guys is absolutely false. And my policies so far in this hearing...
Are you saying what the sheriff wrote me is wrong?
No, what I'm saying is that the way that my policies have been
December 16th,
presented in this are outrageous.
She said the Commonwealth's attorney, that's you, chose not to prosecute Mr. Morales-Ortiz on December 16th, and they had to release him. They had to do their job because you wouldn't prosecute. What happened on December 17th, Mr. Descano?
Well, sir, let's talk about December 16th.
No, that's the question. What happened on December 17th? This same guy murdered somebody. This guy murdered somebody, and I'm asking you, why did you change your website?
Well, do you not want me to talk to you about the actual case?
I want you to answer the first question I said.
Which was about the case.
Why did you change your website?
Well, sir, because the website is not my policy. My policy, you are referring to a campaign.
I think the voters might be interested in that.
This
is your campaign website where you said our office will take immigration consequences into account when making charging and plea decisions. Immigration consequences were certainly part of the game here, part of the issue here with Mr. Morales-Ortiz.
No, they weren't.
You decided
they absolutely were not. You are assuming something that is in fact untrue, because you are misrepresenting my policies. My policies do not say that we do not prosecute people.
Well, if you're proud of your policies, why'd you change your website?
Because that's not my policy. As I told you, sir, that is a campaign statement that I made before I was Commonwealth.
It had been up for 6 years A week after we send you a letter saying we want you to come testify, shazam, you change it.
Because I could not.
Is that coincidental?
Because I could not believe that people were so obtuse that they could not realize what the difference between a campaign statement and an actual office policy is.
So when you make campaign statements, those aren't true? You're not being honest with your voters?
That's not what I'm saying at all, sir.
Sure sounded like it.
Sure
sounded like it.
That's absolutely not. What I'm saying is that when you
still haven't told me why you took it. You still haven't told me why you took it down.
Because I was hoping to come here to talk about my office policies, not be distracted by a campaign statement that was made a year before I was actually Commonwealth's attorney
General.
and had any cases that were mine.
This is almost laughable. This is your policy. You said it right here. You told the voters, if you elect me, I will take into account immigration consequences when making charging and plea decisions.
This is my policy, not what you have in your hand.
Oh, okay. So what you said to the voters is not real. Doesn't count.
No, sir. What I'm saying is that as an office holder, my office is run by my policy.
Your sheriff said you wouldn't prosecute. This guy gets released, kills someone the next day. We start asking about it. You change your website and take down the statements that say you're going to take into account immigration consequences when you decide what you are going to charge.
And it has been public the entire time I've been in office, sir.
Gentleman's time has expired.
That's some pretty shady stuff, right? Oh, I didn't mean what I said on my campaign website that's been up for 6 years and what I told the voters. I was lying. Oh, good stuff there. Good stuff there. Fox News' Bill Melugin called it a brutal exchange. I just want to read what he wrote. I'm not going to replay the video, but I just want to, because Bill's the greatest. And he's very, very experienced reporter on illegal immigration in the United States. Bill says, brutal exchange for Descano here. Jordan pins him down on his website saying for years that he will consider immigration status when making prosecutorial decisions, then suddenly being deleted weeks before the hearing. Descano says anyone who thought his campaign rhetoric would actually be his policy is obtuse. Nick Minock reports there were gasps from Descano's supporters when he said this. It's gasp-worthy, I would say. Boy, he has a high opinion of voters. How obtuse are you? And I'd agree. Fairfax voters are pretty obtuse by putting those two in office, him and Kincaid, but it's Fairfax. What you gonna do? This is a little bit of a clip from what Miari said after the hearing, because he felt that this was an extremely shocking moment, and I want to hear why he thinks that. Let me start from the beginning.
I think it was one of the more shocking moments of the hearing that he essentially said, don't follow what I say as a candidate. I've always been a big believer, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Descano obviously operates at a different set of standards, but I also think it's pretty sad that it was a congressional subpoena that hauled him in front of a committee that finally forced him to apologize to Cheryl Minter for the policies of what happened to her daughter. And, you know, there's no cry like the cry of a mother that has lost a child. It's even worse when you realize the person that harmed your child should have never been in the country to begin with. And but for Steve Descano's failed policies, her daughter would be alive today. It was a stunning moment where he admitted he basically lied as a candidate, but even more stunning to see the overwhelming evidence to show what he has done. He views himself as a social worker, not a prosecutor, and Virginians are paying the price.
That's exactly right. Jason Miyares, who is our former attorney general and, dare I say, future governor here in Virginia, is exactly right. This guy's a social worker. He's meting out justice the way he sees it. And based on your immigration status, you'll either get a sweetheart deal or you won't. But they weren't done with him. Here we go.
Mr. Descano, you said that, quote, we prosecute Virginia cases. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
And you painted a picture of being rigorous in your efforts to prosecute bad people, correct?
Yes, when we prosecute, of course, we take a look at every case.
Yep.
We are constrained by the evidence. We're constrained by the law. And I will tell you, Congressman, you know, I think what is happening here with the number of cases that we're talking about are.
Well, I want to talk to you about one of those cases. I want to talk to you about one of those cases, sir. Mr. Hiram Rodriguez. Remember that case?
I do.
Leading up to the crime that I want to talk about, the defendant's criminal history included multiple charges and arrests for indecent liberties, exposing himself to a child less than 15 years of age, disorderly conduct, illegally entering a property to damage, burglary. He was even sentenced, albeit I would say too lightly, while he was on probation while he was under court supervision. In June 15th, 2023 at 4 o'clock in the morning, Fairfax County PD responded to a burglary in process. A mother and her 4-year-old daughter were asleep in the same room but in separate beds. The mother was awoken when her 4-year-old daughter was screaming in the next room. She went to investigate. The attacker dropped the 4-year-old and fled the scene. It was clear that the 4-year-old had been abducted from her bed. Her buttocks had been grabbed. Her torso had been bruised. The victim displayed immediate bruising. The mother did not see the attacker's face, but the 4-year-old said he was a, quote, big man. Law enforcement identified Mr. Rodriguez by 2 ways. Forensics recovered a finger and palm print from the window that he jarred open in this case and matched footprints outside the house where he was standing with a mud print inside the house. Eyewitness testimony later identified Rodriguez as having been loitering for days outside this apartment building. He had been seen using drugs in the neighborhood, and he had been pacing around this particular unit in the days leading up to the crime. Police secured 2 warrants. One, statutory burglary, specifically alleging that Rodriguez entered an occupied dwelling, seizing a 4-year-old with the intent to commit murder, rape, robbery, or arson. Maximum penalty is 20 years. Abduction of a 4-year-old with the intent to defile such a person was the second charge, with a maximum penalty of life. Once it was handed over to your office, inexplicably so, you immediately reduced the burglary offense to a misdemeanor, which capped the sentence at 12 months. You then reduced the abduction charge to an offense that was a lower degree and capped the sentence at 10 years. When you entered into a plea agreement, you tried to bind the court so they could not sentence this person to any term over 2 years. Is that not correct?
Sir, I'm so glad you brought this case
Is
up
that
because
not correct?
Well, because I would like to explain, sir.
It is correct. And the court rejected it.
Sir, I know
This
the
was
case file.
I'm talking, it was a judge that was appointed by Senator Warner. This is not a right-wing judge. This is a liberal judge. And you know why he rejected it?
Sir,
He saw what you should have seen. He cited overwhelming evidence.
Can we talk about the evidence,
This person was a threat.
I know it and you don't.
Quit talking.
And I would love to tell you about it.
This person was a threat. He yanked a 4-year-old girl out of her bed with the intent to harm her. And you wanted to give her a cap of 2 years.
Sir, this is a great example.
And then when the plea agreement was rejected, what did you do?
Sir, this is a great example.
What did you do?
This is a great example of a case.
You know, I've prosecuted. I've prosecuted
and then
cases.
You understand.
And when you're evading like that, you know what that's a sign of? Guilt. What did you do?
Sir,
you dismissed the case.
Sir, can I please talk to you about this case
when you
if you want to know about it so much?
Be quiet. When you dismiss a case,
Whoa.
What happens to that defendant?
He walks free.
Walks free. A disgusting, perverted individual preying on children that you dismissed the case. As the father of 2 young girls, one of them's 5. That is as shameful as anything I have seen. Quit defending the indefensible. You clearly don't.
Absolutely
You dismissed the case, and it's shameful.
Those were some good fireworks, right? I mean, but how despicable. Despicable Descano. I'm trying to think of what Trump might call him. We'll work on it, but he's despicable, a despicable man. And that was great to see some passion for the Republicans. I didn't hear a whole heck of a lot about what they're going to do about it, but I would just have to say, though, that Miyares did a wonderful job of laying out the long trend that Descano has and the people that work for him of going easy on illegal aliens. And Miyares concluded this is not incompetence. This is not coincidence. This is policy. So they really just scratched the surface at this hearing about all of the ways that Descano has failed Fairfax County. There's a healthy amount of people in Fairfax County that will continue to vote for this because it makes them feel good. Now, I thought to myself, I wonder if Nick Minach, he is very dogged in pursuing questions, asking questions. And I'm wondering if he was able to get a hold of Mr. Descano or Ms. Kincaid after the hearing. So let's see what kind of adventures Nick got up to after everything was over. Let me see if I can.
apologize to
Here we go.
Sure.
Well, sir, why didn't you apologize to Stephanie Minter's mother much sooner? Why did it take a congressional hearing to apologize to her?
Okay, where we go? This one?
Why haven't you apologized to Miss Minter sooner? Sir, it's been several months since that murder. Why have you not apologized to her sooner?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
What is the importance of having the community trust your office to be able to help
Oh.
issues, even though they have a status or anything?
Well, we need witnesses to testify. Without witness testimony, we can't prosecute cases. We can't get bad guys off the street. That's our job. So having that trust with the community, that's necessary for us to do our job. All right, thanks, guys.
Sir, can you answer the question? When was the first time you have apologized to Miss Minter? Was it today? Jenna, do you have an apology for Miss Minter? Because you were the prosecutor on the Abdul Jallo case.
Thank you. We're waiting for an Uber.
You don't have an apology for Miss Minter?
Thank you. We're waiting for an Uber.
Any comment on why you dropped all those charges against Abdul
Thank you. We're
Jallo?
waiting for an Uber.
Statements many times about the evidentiary issues.
Yeah, this is the first time we've been able to ask her questions.
Well,
Jenna
this
Sands,
person-
you were on the prosecutorial team. You were the one those emails were addressed to. Why didn't you take it more seriously?
Okay, do you want to start walking
Do
that
you
way? And I'll answer
regret-
Nick's questions?
Do you regret
Nick, we've given specific
dropping these
answers
charges against Abdul Jallo?
about the evidentiary issues in these specific cases.
You don't have any regrets?
We are bound by the evidence.
I'm not
and the
talking to you,
law.
Laura. I'm talking to Jenna. Jenna, do you have regrets? Police wrote you 3 separate times that Abdul Jallo was dangerous.
And Nick, we
Why didn't you
shared
heed those warnings?
Police concerns.
Nick, I'm pretty sure
about
Laura's
the
given you what you
potential
need.
I'm talking to you.
dangerousness of
I'm
Yes.
not
Mr.
talking to you,
Jallo.
Laura.
And
But we
unfortunately,
are
my interactions
limited.
with you have not led me
We
to
are
believe that we
limited
shouldn't
by
just
the
let her
law
talk.
and the evidence.
But
And
you were the
so-
one on the emails.
It's okay. Thank you.
We are in close touch with the police about prosecuting Mr. Jallo throughout the last few months.
Do you think Jenna Sands did her job not heeding those warnings?
Jenna is a fantastic prosecutor who, like all of our prosecutors, is committed to prosecuting violent, serious crimes. We are bound by the specific evidence in cases. We cannot, and if we do not have any evidence, we unfortunately cannot move forward with the case. And we've explained that.
He just walks away. I love Nick Minaj. He is not going to be stopped. And those ladies are a disgrace. This is disgusting. Fairfax County, what the hell are you doing putting these people in the office? I grew up there. I'm disgusted. I am disgusted by what I saw today. And I really hope that the passion that we saw from the Republicans is going to turn into something good. Hopefully the Department of Justice, which is investigating Steve Descano, will take some sort of action because this is disgusting. The people of Fairfax County should be ashamed of themselves for putting these horrible people into office. I'm disgusted. I am. And I'm so happy that Cheryl Minter had her day. It was really mostly about Cheryl and her daughter, Stephanie. I'm glad she had her chance to tell the world about Stephanie. And shame on all those people. Shame on them. I'm really enraged at what's happened to Fairfax County. And those women at the end, my God, they're probably at no Kings rallies on the weekend. We got to stop this. We got to stop it. All right, I'm going to calm down now. If there's anything valuable you got from this video, can I ask you to kindly like and subscribe? If you have any thoughts about Steve Descano's policies, his behavior today, the workers that accompanied him, their behavior, or even Nick Minaj, he's one of my favorites, please go down to the comments and drop me your thoughts, your questions. I really like to know what you think about this because obviously I'm a little heated. Also, if you're interested in watching the hearing, we did live stream it today. I had to cut off at the very end because I had to go out, but most of it's there. So I'm going to link that for you right here and you can watch all of it in its totality. Thanks for watching, friends. I hope you're safe out there. Be safe always. I will see you next time. Bye.